Before we dive into this episode, we wanted to take the opportunity to say a heartfelt thank you for being here. Whether you've been with us from the very beginning when we started this podcast in 2019 or you're new, welcome.
We hope you enjoy what you hear, and if you do, please download it, share it with friends, and leave a review. It really helps us get better guests and share the midlife love. Hi, James here, and in this episode, I'm flying solo and talking motivation and what to do when it disappears. Newsflash, this happens to all of us. The gym kit's staring at you, the emails are piling up, and even the things you used to love feel like a chore. It's not that you've become lazy, it's that your motivation's done a disappearing act. And if you're in midlife, there's probably a reason for that. So, in today's episode, I'm going to break down why motivation fades, why waiting for it to come back never works, and how to rebuild real momentum, even when you don't feel like it. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James, and I'm afraid that I am flying solo today. That's because Claire has not been very well. She's had a chest infection, so she had no voice for about a week. Oh, lucky me. Just kidding. Of course, I missed her dulcet tones. And then her voice came back just in time for her to be presenting all weekend. So we were at the Home Life and You show in London's Excel. I was doing book signings there. We ran a workshop talk together on the Saturday. Claire was hosting a panel on the Saturday, and then today she was hosting a stage all day, and she did an amazing job. So proud of her. I think she may have found her thing. She was a real natural up there. It's great to see her up there. So consequently, she is now resting and resting her voice because it did start to go again towards the end. Today, I'm just going to do a short session. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough as well. A short session on what to do when motivation disappears and how to rebuild momentum in midlife. Because I know this is really common for a lot of people, a lot of the clients that I speak to, a lot of high performing clients I speak to. They could have direction and motivation in one direction, but then be lacking it in others and get frustrated with themselves. So I'm going to be just covering this really briefly. But first of all, to recap, I think our last podcast was just before Claire and I headed off to Ibiza to run our midlife reset retreat. And oh my goodness, what an experience. We had such an amazing group of clients. And this retreat was a bit of a departure for us. We obviously came from, the 38 degrees North Heritage, which was very fitness and movement focused, although we did, cover things like belief, mindset, nutrition as well. But this was the first retreat we did that was really going deep into the coaching to look at the transformation we could achieve. So we're looking at things like your value structures, where you are now, your beliefs that are holding you back, what you want to achieve. And I can honestly say the clients loved it. They were fantastic. They gave it their all, so much energy. Claire and I loved delivering it. So we will definitely be doing more of those. Keep watching this space because there's more of that coming for sure. It was such a high. The weather was interesting. Ibiza yet again had very severe storms and flooding, but we had a marvelous hotel. Shout out to the Melia in Santa Eulalia, and they kept us warm, dry, and we just had this most amazing experience. Got back, loads of calls. Obviously, we're heading into Men's Health Month in November, so I'm setting up loads of calls and talks with corporates. I'm going in talking about andropause. I'm doing co-talks with people who are doing menopause, so we get the men's side of it. I'm going in talking about communication styles between men and women and what could be the missing gap there sometimes. So loads of stuff. I've just added some new talk topics to my website, jamespdavis.com. So do go check that out if you're after a corporate talk. Right, enough of that, and let's get into what to do when your motivation disappears. So, this is something I think hits every single one of us at some point. It's that moment when motivation just vanishes. And listen, I've been there myself. This is why I ended up writing the Midlife Male Handbook, because Claire and I were pushing very hard with the Midlife Reset coaching program. It was going really well, but we were just pushing so hard on the customer acquisition for that, and it wasn't what really lit us up. We love delivering it. We love the talks, the communication with the clients. What we don't love is all the marketing and stuff that you have to put out there. So we were getting increasingly burnt out, and at the same time, I think I just lost my mojo a bit. I was like, I don't know what direction to go in, and I found that the motivators kind of motivation lack of motivation creep. And maybe you can identify with this. It started to spill into other areas of my life. So I was like, I'm not sure what direction I'm going in with work, which led to me withdrawing a bit from life, to be like isolating more as I didn't want to socialize. So we have to be really aware of this, I think, particularly at midlife, because, we do get tired. Our energy does get used up. You know what it's like? You get up and the gym kit's sat there staring at you, but you're just like, oof. Your to-do list, you want the end result, but it just feels like a mountain you can't climb. It's not that you've given up, you just feel flat. And like I say, I've been there, I know what it's like. I always want to say to you, it is totally normal. Pretty much every client I speak to has moments where they feel like this, especially at midlife. So if this ever happened to you, if you're going through it now, if you're wondering where your drive's gone, let's talk about why that happened and how to get it back. So why does motivation disappear? Well, I think this is tied in with this whole misconception around life balance that Claire and I have talked about before, right? That there's this myth that gets peddled that life should be in balance. Listen, we firmly believe it's not a balance. You can do your best to get it into some sort of equilibrium that's working for you. But at different times in life, we're going to have to concentrate on different things. Our life is going to be out of balance one way or another. Actually, at the talk we were doing on Saturday at the show, a lady asked, she said, I'm struggling at the moment. My mom's 91 years old. She keeps asking for attention. I'm sacrificing my own time. Like, how can I be firmer at saying no? But at the same time, I'm not sure I want to, because I don't know how much time I've got left to make these memories with her. And Claire gave an amazing answer. She said, you know what? Sometimes in life, you have to go with the flow of the river rather than trying to swim against it. You know, maybe for her at this time in life, it's about, okay, I am going to subjugate my own needs to spend more time with my mother, realizing that's precious. I want to make those memories. So that's an example of how life can get out of balance sometimes. And I think that can happen to motivation as well, right? Because we have this idea that life should always be balanced. We also have this idea that motivation should always be there. Oh, I should wake up. I should wake up really motivated. And of course, social media pushes that to us all the time, doesn't it? There's gurus there like, yeah, if you're not getting up every morning hungry for your goal, there's something wrong with you. Listen, there is nothing wrong with you at all. We can be hungry, but we might still not be bothered to eat. That's a metaphor for you, by the way, because motivation comes and goes. And there'll be mornings where, like, oh, yeah, I know what I really want to move towards this goal, this thing, but I just don't feel I've got the energy today. I don't know what to do. And sometimes that's an energy thing. And sometimes it can be coming from our subconscious throwing up tricky blocks for us. Just important to note, motivation isn't constant state, it's a feeling, and feelings by nature are unreliable. And in midlife, there's another layer, right? For years, we've been running on achievement autopilot, career, family, success, proving ourselves. And maybe we've hit the goals we're chasing, but the buzz isn't the same. The dopamine hit, the brain's war camera, it isn't firing like it used to. That's biology. Our hormones, if we're female going through the menopause, going to make us feel like we could have brain fog. We've got less energy. If you're a man and your testosterone is lowered, you're going to have less drive and energy, feel more anxious. And psychologically, the why behind what we do often shifts, but we rarely stop long enough to notice. And that was a really common theme working on the retreat. Like getting back to the why, like, okay, you were very sure of your values when you were young, but what about now? Is your life aligning with your values? Have you looked at those? So it's really important to do this deeper work, to consider this, to make sure you're getting motivated for the right thing. If we don't, what happens? We just keep trying to push on with the same old goals, the same habits, but the fuel has changed. We're trying to run our high performance petrol car on diesel. You haven't lost motivation, you've outgrown the source of it. So I want to talk a little bit about discipline. And Claire and I have talked about this before. Discipline is a massively underrated superpower. And this is where people go wrong. And I see this all the time. And I've done it myself in the past. You wait for motivation to come back, they wait to feel ready. Um, I'm going to talk about the experience of writing a book because I think that's a really good example that people can identify with. Most people want to write a book. Um, if you ever read books by successful authors, they'll tell you can't wait for inspiration to come. You just have to sit and write. And certainly for me, that was true. I've written nonfiction and I've written fiction. And both times I just had to sit down and write. And actually, the act of doing the writing then makes the inspiration come. If you sit there and you're just waiting for the inspiration, you could be waiting a hell of a long time because motivation doesn't come first. Action comes first. I always say action breeds momentum. You don't go to the gym because you feel motivated, but you go because you said you would go. And discipline is what bridges that gap between where you are and where you want to be. Before you roll your eyes, discipline isn't punishment. They've got this idea that discipline is something really negative and we're forcing ourselves. It's a structure that supports who you want to become. And listen, neuroscience shows us that when we do something that we're not sure if we want to do or not, we actually get a dopamine reward for the achievement of doing it. So next time it becomes a little bit easier to do it. And then time after that, it becomes easier again. That is discipline. It's like a muscle. We need to work it. Also, like having a lack of motivation can seep into other areas of your life, discipline can roll into other areas. So if you're struggling for motivation with something at the moment, get disciplined in one area, whether that's your physical self, going to the gym, whether it's getting your food on track, whether that's a work project, just discipline that one area and then watch how that discipline starts to roll over into other areas of your life. Because discipline is a structure that supports who you want to become. I'm going to think of it like this. I'll give you two analogies actually. The first is if you think of like a good old fashioned steam locomotive, right? Thousands of tons of metal hurtling down a track. Now, if that locomotive is stopped and you put a 4-inch block of wood in front of the wheels, guess what? It will never get going. But when that steam train is going full throttle, if you were to build a brick wall on the line, it's going to smash straight through it. I'll give you another picture. Motivation is like the weather. It changes daily. It's affected by our mood, what's going on, our hormones. Discipline is the roof over your head that keeps you dry no matter what is happening outside. So when motivation disappears, that is your cue to lean into structure. How can you do that? Follow through and do what you say you're going to do. You are then proving to yourself that you have the commitment to see it through. Create rituals instead of relying on feelings. Stack your habits. So associate your habits. Do your workout right after your morning coffee, for example. Keep the bar low enough to clear, but high enough to grow. Set those small micro goals and have pleasure in ticking them off as you achieve. Because every small action compounds. You don't rebuild motivation in one big moment. It won't come piling back in. You earn it back through momentum. It's about taking those small steps day after day. This is the unsexy stuff no one wants to talk about, right? The gurus, they all want to sell you like the miracle method that will achieve this in X days or make you X amount of dollars by doing XYZ. Life isn't like that. It's about taking small actions every day. Those steps build momentum and they build progress. But how do you restart when you're stalled? Well, I think it comes back to starting and asking a real question. Are you doing the right thing? What do I actually want now? Not the you of 10 years ago, of 20 years ago, not what your boss wants, what your partner wants, what your family wants, what society told you to want. What do you want now? Then pick one domain of life, your health, a relationship, purpose, a business goal, and commit to one small, non-negotiable action this week. I prefer to say daily. I do prefer to say daily. Do a daily small action. Whatever that is. Is it you're going to go for a walk for 15, 20 minutes every day? Are you going to message a certain amount of people every day? Are you going to block out an hour to plan your next chapter? It's not the size of the step, it's the consistency that matters. To paraphrase Chairman Mao, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And here's a secret. When your actions align with your values, motivation follows. And this is why Claire and I do such deep work on values, because it's so important to align with those. So, example, when you realize that you're not training to look good or fit in a certain dress or look good with your shirt off, you're a guy, but you're training for health, for energy, for confidence and presence. That is a different why to just looking good. It's when motivation stops being a feeling and becomes a way of life. Okay, so if you're sat there thinking, I've lost my drive, remember, it happens to all of us. It's happened to me, and I've come back. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. You don't need to feel inspired to take action. You need to take action to feel inspired again. Remember that. Don't wait for the inspiration to come. Take the action to make the inspiration come. Start small, be consistent, and act from the man or woman that you want to become, the you of the future, not the mood that you're in now. Listen, I know that was short and sweet. I hope it hit home. Share it with someone who's been feeling stuck. And we always say, please like, share, review. If you want more practical tools to ground out your energy and purpose and you're a guy, then check out my book, The Midlife Male Handbook. It is packed with strategies to help you feel back in control of your health, mindset, and direction. Okay, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So do hit us up, team at the Midlife Mentors. Follow us on the socials at the Midlife Mentors, at Midlife Mentors. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and remember, midlife isn't a crisis, it's a call to action.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to take the Midlife Reset Audit now to receive personalised insights into what's holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife. So go ahead and take the audit now at themidlifementors.com/audit.